Well, I'm here joined right now by Perkz, with coverage brought to you by Alienware. So nice to meet you, Perkz, after so much conversation from this past weekend. I guess we can go with Emily, right? I assume that's what you're more well known as.
Yeah, so you can call me Emily. I have a different married name. Perkz is my maiden name.
Gotcha. All right. Well, for those that are not familiar, maybe watching this interview and missed the commotion this past weekend, there was kind of a funny thing where I had tweeted something about the Perkz that we know and Jensen, and a couple fans were replying and tagged at Perkz, the holder of the wonderful name on Twitter. And Emily here, what ended up happening next? I think you sent what I felt looked like a little bit of like a you seemed a little annoyed, I think, is the tweet that I that I saw.
Yeah. So I sometimes do get weird messages like asking to buy my Twitter handle, and I didn't really understand why because I didn't use Twitter that much. And then you tweeted that, and I was getting some replies, and it was a bit annoying because I was trying to work. So because I didn't even know what it was, I just thought, right, I'm just going to tell this guy to leave me alone. And then I started to get I got like 14 followers in an hour. I was like, oh, this is a bit strange. So I just, someone then explained what the situation was, and that there was this pro gamer who had the same, really similar tag. So I was like, okay. And they said, well, maybe you want to change your handle. And I was like, well, no, actually, I'm going to spam people with guinea pig pictures and pictures about, and tweets about education because I'm a teacher.
Yeah, yes.
So then I think that I Will Dominate sort of saw that, and then he tweeted a meme, and on it said guinea pig pictures, and I was like, oh, okay, they seem quite keen on the guinea pig pictures. So I posted a picture of my guinea pigs, one of whom happens to be called Fudge. And then once that hit Twitter, it sort of went a bit crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, we sort of went on from there.
Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed it because I will admit, so from that first tweet where you seemed a little annoyed, I thought it was so funny. And so I retweeted it, which of course is sort of how you start getting the followers and people messaging you about it. And I thought, oh no, like, am I going to be making your situation worse? Am I going to be frustrating you? But I thought it was just so funny to see you say, like, I don't know what this is. But it seems like it was quite fun. And you started getting more and more messages. Maybe you can kind of tell me about how the rest of that night went. Because, I mean, I assume, I think this was a Sunday, I think?
Yeah.
Yes, Sunday.
So I think it's Sunday because I think Cloud9 were playing at the time. Yeah.
Yes.
And
So
they were losing.
So how was it for you as you kept seeing this start to blow up and a lot of your tweets started, kind of going viral within our elite esports community?
Well, I mean, it was really cool, but it was late at night, so I was getting a bit worried because I had work the next day. But then my husband opened up the I Will Dominate feed, and we could just see these messages coming in about the guinea pigs, and Perkz is here, and I was like, oh my goodness. So it was just really exciting, and I just felt really part of the community. And I guess me retweeting was sending out belonging cues to other people to say, it's fine to, be part of this. And it was cool. It was fun. It was really fun and exciting.
So had you heard of League of Legends before? Were you familiar with the game?
I had not heard of League of Legends before. One of my tweets, I talked about the fact we used to play Call of Duty.
Yes.
So, I mean, I used to play computer games when I was younger. I used to play Final Fantasy VII with my brother. He still actually plays Final Fantasy VII. And then when I sort of was in my 20s, it was Call of Duty 4, and I had my little crew, and we used to, I was pretty good at it. But then since then, my teaching's taken off, and I've got a family, and so I don't really play that many computer games anymore, unless it's like Little Big Planet with my daughter, or
yes.
Just Dance 2020 is the current favourite. But so no, I hadn't heard of the community. I obviously know there's online communities, but I hadn't heard of them.
You mentioned that Call of Duty thing. I think you tweeted at me, or I saw a tweet where you mentioned how good you had been at Call of Duty and how much you'd played it. Do you want to explain a little bit?
So, yeah, I mean, I used to race home from work to play it. So I prestiged 4 times, and which I think was pretty good for the time. Lots of people didn't, when I used to play it, there weren't many women on there. So people were surprised that a woman was playing it and was quite good. But it was quite good for the kids at school as well, because they used to think I was quite cool. And I used to take my Xbox in and we used to play against each other. So that was quite cool. So yeah, I was okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's fun to hear that even if you're less familiar with League, the sort of gaming spirit has lived in you for a while. With so how much do you know about League esports now? Because obviously now you've seen that there's this big tournament and stuff. What's kind of your impression of it as an outsider getting yanked into this randomly in the middle of a Sunday?
Okay, well, I mean, everyone has been really lovely and wholesome. Apparently, I am, whatever that means. My impression is that this community has a huge language sort of vocabulary that you use that feels really inaccessible to someone who isn't part of it. So I see people tweeting things and I'm like, I don't know what that means. So then I ask them what it means, and then people think that that's cute too. So yeah.
But you're like, that's great that you think it's cute, but I would like to know what this means. What are some of the things that people have said or tweeted? Do you remember any of them right now?
Well, so today I actually downloaded the game. I was ready to have a little look, and it asked me a question about which game I wanted to play.
Yeah, Summoner's Rift or Teamfight Tactics. I saw your tweet. Yeah.
I didn't know what that meant. So people said, if you join, then you can play against bots. And I'm like, I don't know what bot means. I didn't know what wholesome meant. A lot of the stuff you said. And then when you talk about the leagues and stuff, I don't know what that means either.
So just for context, so we have, obviously there's the game League of Legends, and then we have these, like, what you tuned into or became a part of is the LCS, which is the North American League, and there's a European league named LEC, which perhaps is more time zone friendly for you, and then we have leagues in Korea and China and a bunch of other countries as well. So yeah, we have 10 different teams that compete in the LCS, and one of those teams is Cloud9. Who has a player named
my
Perkz.
Team.
Yes. Well, Perkz' story is interesting because he just moved over to LCS. He was an all-star player in the European League, and so he's just come over this year. So, but then obviously there's a ton of people that just play the game and never watch the sport. You know, they never watch the competitive games or the tournament or anything like that. So that's kind of what's been going on there. You mentioned that there's a ton of girls that you talk to or women that you talk to in your group who were all kind of getting a kick out of it. Maybe you could talk a little bit about what you were messaging them about and how this was happening.
What, my friends?
Yes. Because I saw some of them even tweeting and being, sort of celebrating this. I reached out to one of them to get your contact.
That's my manager,
Yeah.
Nicola. So my manager, she likes to call herself. I actually work for her. She works for the Multi-Academy Trust group of schools that I work in. And she was really excited because she uses Twitter quite a lot and I don't. So she was trying to explain to me how to do things. And then she couldn't go to bed either. So she was watching and saying, I can't believe this is kicking off. But she got really excited because obviously I Will Dominate then donated to my charity online. So she was really excited because she thought that something really nice was coming out of the fact that this was happening and something really good for charity. So she was excited about that.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. So I want to ask you a little bit more about Fudge and all that in a second. But since we're on the topic, maybe you can talk about the fundraising effort that you had. I saw this, I think, pinned towards the top of your Twitter. So maybe you can talk a little bit about this.
So in 2015, one of my students was tragically killed. It was his last day of school, and it was really, really sad, obviously. And I remember the time, and it was a really difficult time for the kids at school. They were doing their exams and things, and it was just horrendous. But when it happened, there was a lot of, just felt like there was a lot of love, but people didn't really know what to do with that. And ever since then, I've always felt like I've thought about him and his family a lot. And so my husband brought me an exercise bike for Christmas. I asked for one because I wanted to get into shape a little bit more. And I thought, well, how am I going to go on this every day? Or I thought, I'll cycle the length of the Tour de France. He then told me how far it was, which is 3,500 kilometers. And I was like, oh, that's 9 kilometers every day.
Right.
But I thought, well, actually, to keep me motivated, I could perhaps raise some money for the Laura Centre, which helps children who have, well, it helps families who have lost children and also children who are bereaved as well. And they have a centre in Leicester. And I thought, well, actually, if I raised 350 quid for them, then that would be a really good thing to do, and it would keep me motivated to do it.
Yeah. That's really cool. And so I've seen that you've hit, I believe, and surpassed by a decent amount your goal for the fundraising effort. So hopefully people can keep checking that out on your Twitter and keep supporting it. So that's exciting to see.
I'd love that. But only if people have the means. And actually, one of my tweets is, I think it's one of the most retweeted ones actually, is me saying, I'm not at C9 Perkz, I'm just a woman in Leicester. And the reason I posted that was because I was worried that people might donate money to the cause thinking that it was Cloud9's Perkz, and I was worried that people might get confused. So that's why I posted that, but that's now become quite...
yes, that tweet became viral, I think, in particular. Yeah. That one got retweeted a ton as well. Just the fun of people people thinking there could be a mistake for there. You also mentioned, and one thing I wanted to talk a little bit about in this is just, I've seen some of your tweets from before you became a breakout sensation, just talking about sort of the state of teaching and teachers and having to do everything remote and during the pandemic and a lot of challenges there. I think there's a lot of people who might not be familiar with how tough it is right now for teachers. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that on your end, just so that people get a little bit of perspective. Obviously, every country is different in how they're dealing with this, but just at least from the UK side, you can probably speak to that.
Yeah, so in the summer, so from, I think it was the 23rd of March last year, we went into lockdown 1 and the schools shut. And then since January, the schools have shut again. And this time feels a lot different to last time. Last time, I think, certainly for me and my school, we were doing a lot of learning, but it wasn't live learning, so we weren't connecting with our classes. And we felt that this time we really wanted to do that more. Now, not all schools have the capability of doing that, those live lessons, but my school and I work for 2 schools. They both, one of them has iPads for all of their students. And so we're actually able easily to connect with them through meetings. So basically our lessons run as normal. It's just that the kids are not with us in terms of in the building. It's a lot better this time. You still have that connection with your students, but things take a long time. And it's really, I think it's tough on the students because they don't have that belonging that they have when they're together in the school. And so that's tough for teachers to try and keep their attention and then think about how they're going to engage their students with their lessons, and then also think about how can I make these kids think that they're with me. And so I play music at the start of my lessons. We have while they're doing a task, and they seem to like it. I mean, some of the songs they don't like, but they they like it. And when I give them feedback on their work, I leave them little voice messages and things so that they can hear my voice. So things are tough because you're not with your students, and they need to feel like they belong. It's also tough because my daughter is at home, so we don't really want to send her to school too much because we don't want to burden the school. So sometimes she's at home, so I'm trying to teach, and she's 5. So sometimes it's a bit difficult to get that balance right between trying to look after her and not ignoring her, getting her schoolwork done, but also I have like 30 kids in front of me who also need me.
Well, I think so many people may not appreciate the challenges that are facing teachers, as so many challenges are facing so many people. So I just think it, I really appreciate what teachers are doing during this time, and I think it's looking at your Twitter, I was reminded of that. I think a lot, just sort of the process by which you were talking about a lot of this. Okay. Well, so maybe we can round out the interview with what I know so many people want to know, which is more about Fudge, your teammate at the top lane.
Yeah.
Yes, if you want to bring her up.
Here she is. Oh, hang on. She's a little bit grumpy.
Oh no.
Well, she's always grumpy. She's not just grumpy today.
Okay.
She's an old lady now, so she gets a bit grumpy. Here she
How
goes.
how
She
many
is.
years old?
Well, I only had her for a year, so I think she's about 5, which is quite old in guinea pig. But here she is. I'll perhaps hold her. Let me get her off the towel.
Sure.
There she is.
She seems fairly fine being held.
Yeah, yeah. She hates being caught, but she doesn't mind being held.
Gotcha.
Um,
It's like once she's been caught, she's already in.
yeah, that's it. She can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's cute. Um, she spends a lot of time grumbling. So the other two are her children, and she spends a lot of time grumbling to them. But she's now obviously a Twitter star, and she has her own memes. So she's very, famous.
Yeah, breakout old in her life to turn into a celebrity. What you mentioned a little bit before as we were setting up, I found it very funny. You mentioned you're somewhat allergic to them.
I don't know if it's them or their hay, and I didn't quite realise until we got them. So we got them because my daughter's an only child, and we were a bit concerned that she was spending a lot of time with me and my husband and not having an interaction with anyone else during lockdown. So we thought, oh, we'll get some guinea pigs because her favourite YouTube star has 2 guinea pigs. I don't know if you've seen that on my Twitter, but
Not yet, yeah.
so she has her favourite YouTube star has had 2 guinea pigs, and so she was like, oh, I'd really like some guinea pigs. And actually I reached out to the dad of that. It's A for Adderley. I don't know if you've heard of her.
I'm not familiar, but that's just kind of a cool story.
I think it's Sean Doris. He's from Space Station Gaming.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so he reached out and talked about guinea pigs and stuff as well. So I thought that was really cool. But yeah, the allergy. I don't know if it's their hay or if it's them, but it just makes me have runny eyes and a bit of a snotty nose.
Very good. Well, what's next for you? I saw you downloaded League of Legends. Do you think you're going to try the game?
Well, I will try. I'm going to do the tutorial and
Yeah.
I'll see.
Yes.
Lots of people are saying though on Twitter not to mute the chat because they say that the chat's quite toxic. But I mean, everybody that I've interacted with online has been absolutely lovely.
Yes.
So there is a league of not everybody's into that sort of chat, but we'll see.
Well, you probably remember your days playing Call of Duty. Not everyone is particularly nice in that, and I would say perhaps the same in League of Legends. Maybe people are really nice to you when they see pictures of you and your guinea pig, but maybe a little less nice whenever they don't realize who you are. So muting the chat is maybe not a bad idea. And then I think some people were saying, you mentioned earlier, that you can play against bots. So bots are, like robots, essentially. They're just AI versions of opponents. So rather than having to go out and play against real people, you can play against the AI and maybe get a little bit better that way. So I'm sure there's going to be a ton of people that will, and I think already have tweeted at you and said happy to help you learn the game. So
Yeah.
maybe the community will help you learn League of Legends, and you can decide if you like it or not.
Well, we'll see. I'll tweet about it, and you can have a look and see.
Very good.
But I just wanted to say thanks very much for interviewing. The kids at school have absolutely loved it. They think it's brilliant, and it brings like such a lot of joy to them and in such a difficult time, and brings us all together. So thanks for that, and I'm really proud of them. And I just want to say to them as well, that even though things are tough, you just got to keep working because you never know what's around the corner. And opportunities might not fall in your lap, but if you're working hard, and then when they do fall in your lap, you're ready to sort of take them on. So stick with it, guys. You'll be okay.
Very inspirational words and a great way to end the interview. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it. And for everyone else, you can check out more coverage of all things LCS, Perkz, and Fudge, and more right here on my channel. What was I supposed to say again? I know it was... Oh, yes! That's what I was supposed to say. I'm supposed to tell you about Alienware. You can go check them out at alienware.com/Travis. There's a link in the description below. You can use Travis 10 off Q4. Sometimes people tweet at me and they say, I can't find the code. The code is always in the description of these videos. So it does change from time to time. In fact, it might be becoming something new very soon. But Travis 10 off Q4, you can save 10% off your order of an Alienware computer. And thank you so much to Alienware for sponsoring this channel. Also, please subscribe to the channel because it's the only way I can gauge the progress of time in my life and what I'm accomplishing.